So, hi everyone, welcome to one more interview for Java EE, the next frontier project. And today we have a very special guest here, Mr. Kevin Sutter from IBM. Kevin is member of expert group for Java EE. And Kevin, nice to meet you in person,
Nice
face to face.
Yes.
And welcome. We are very pleased to have you here. Thank you for accepting our invitation and thank you for your time. Can you hear me, Kevin?
Yes, but I didn't hear a question.
Oh, okay, no, I'm just welcoming you.
Yes.
So Kevin, please, we know that you are very involved with Java EE in expert group and with some others initiatives like MicroProfile. Could you tell us a little about what you are doing right now related to Java EE and MicroProfile?
Sure. So I've been involved in the Java EE environment for a long time. My first experience was with J2EE connector architecture, or now Java EE connector architecture. And I participated in that from an IBM perspective, and then I moved on to JPA, the Java Persistence API. And I participated in that for several years, and then I kind of graduated up to participating at the Java EE platform specification. So I've been on that expert group for both Java EE 7 and Java EE 8. And so that's kind of my background with Java EE. It's been for several years. Recently, since you asked about MicroProfile, recently there's been an initiative, an industry initiative on the use of or the development of microservice-based applications. And that's where MicroProfile is coming in. It's meant as a complement to Java EE. So we're trying to fill some of the gaps of the Java EE architecture for the microservices environment. And so I know this talk is about Java EE, so I'll try to focus on that, but I just wanted to bring that up, that's the other half of my job. Besides Java EE is co-leading the MicroProfile effort with it's actually with John Klingen from Red Hat, but there are many groups involved in MicroProfile.
Sure. Let's talk about MicroProfile as well. Kevin, what are your expectations related to Java EE? We are almost on release date, maybe on this summer. What are your expectations related to bug fixes, improvements, new features, and so on?
Okay, there's first of all, I think it's great that at least it looks like we're going to be able to stick to the schedule for Java EE 8. Last year at Java 1, 2016, there was a big push from Oracle to try to get Java EE 8 complete by this time next year, Java 1, 2017. And everyone thought that was a pretty aggressive schedule. It took a little bit to get going. It was a little slow, but then once the wheels started turning, then these specs started getting complete. And so it looks like we're pretty much on schedule with trying to deliver Java EE 8 this summer. I know the goal is July. I think the ultimate goal from an Oracle perspective is get it done by Java 1, which is the first week of October. But I think we have a very good chance at completing Java EE 8, the specs, the RI, the TCK, the CTS, in the July-August timeframe. So I think we're in very good shape there. So I just wanted to get that little thank you out. The other thing you asked about, well, what about some of the new features that are coming? I think probably the #1 feature that people are looking at is the HTTP 2 support that is coming in Servlet 4. I think that's going to be a benefit all the way around, especially from performance perspective. To be very honest, we're not really thrilled with how Oracle is going to be providing the ALPN support. ALPN is a prereq in order to support HTTP2. And so the way that Oracle is proposing to deliver this on a Java 8 stack, because ALPN is only part of Java 9, is to provide it as a Java SE8 patch with the reference implementation. So we're not really thrilled with that approach, but we're going to have to live with it. The other vendors are going to have to live with it as well. And at least we are getting some support for ALPN on Java 8 without requiring users to move up to Java 9. So there is a plus there, just not really thrilled with how that's being delivered. Let's see, another big specification, I guess, is the security 1.0 spec that's coming out. Now, granted, we've had to cut back on the content of that a little bit. It's been, it was very grandiose in its initial incarnation, and we've had to cut back on that because of time and resource in order to complete that. It's scaled back, but it's still worthwhile to include in Java EE8. I know there was some discussion as to whether or not, is there enough substance in the security JSR to include it in Java EE8. And I'm glad that we are including it. It is cut back, but it gives us a good base to continue the work for Java EE9. Other ones, I guess the other one that pops out at me is the JSON-B specification. So here we're finally going to complete the JSON package, the JSON solution. So in Java EE7, we had JSON-P. The P is for either parsing or processing of JSON documents. And JSON-B is for the binding between the Java objects and the JSON documents. So now at least we have completed that picture, that solution for JSON documents. So I think that's a big plus. So I guess those are the three big things that come to mind. There's several other specifications that are being updated. Some minor, some are just maintenance releases, some have a little bit more substance to them. But those are the three big ones that come to mind for me.
Oh, that's awesome. And Kevin, on last Java 1, we started the MicroProfile initiative, and we have today a very active mailing list, a lot of discussions, a lot of effort are putting on MicroProfile. How do you relate both technologies, Java EE and MicroProfile? They are related, or they are living one of their own lives? How do you relate the both technologies and initiatives?
Yeah, and I get that question a lot because there's this perception that MicroProfile is a competitor to Java EE, and that is not the case. And actually, the MicroProfile 1.0 release, we just highlighted 3 of the Java EE specifications. It was JAX-RS, JSON-P, and CDI. So that was the whole content of MicroProfile 1.0 was all referencing Java EE 7 specifications. But now as we go forward and we're continuing to try to define the microservice application development environment or the programming model, there's some holes in Java EE. We're looking at providing some application configuration in MicroProfile. We're looking at doing some JWT security propagation. We're looking at doing some health metrics. And actually, these 2 items, the first one and the third one that I mentioned there, the config API and the health metrics, both of these were on the docket for Java EE8. But because of time and resource constraint, we weren't able to contain them in Java EE8. And so it was very natural for us to kind of pick up on those. The MicroProfile effort, the idea behind it is to be very iterative on our development process, to innovate, try to come up with solutions that work for our customers. And then eventually, we would like to take this knowledge, this experience that we come up with MicroProfile, and propose it as a possible JSR. So since the config API and the health metrics, it didn't make Java EE8, with our experience, I think that will make for better JSRs in the future. So if we start promoting them for, let's say Java EE9, then we'll have that experience of our customers that are actively trying to use it and build that into the JSR proposal so that we'll have a better solution when it actually becomes part of Java EE. So that's how we're saying that, and trying to explain that we're trying to complement the Java EE effort, not trying to compete with it.
Oh, that's awesome. And until the MicroProfile isn't JSR, has his own JSR, do you believe that Java EE8 is more suitable for microservices, while we still don't have MicroProfile as a JSR?
Yes, I mean, even Java EE7 was suitable for microservice development. It's really, so we identified 3 of the specs within Java EE7 that kind of provide the basis for MicroProfile. But to be honest, if you only coded to those 3 specs, you're not going to get much of an application. You still have to bring in other aspects. Maybe it's caching, maybe it's a database, maybe it's servlet. Maybe it's concurrency processing. So you may still pull in other aspects that are required for your application. And all of those are standardized as part of Java EE. So I think Java EE7 has already provided a basis for microservice development. Not that you take the whole platform, but you take the pieces of Java EE that are required for your application, and you can develop microservice-based applications. And so I think Java EE8 continues towards that goal. Even some of the things, well, definitely the JSON processing, that definitely is a candidate to be brought into, or the JSON B for the binding, that's definitely a candidate to be added into MicroProfile. And then even some of the improvements that are coming in JAX-RS, with the new revision of JAX-RS that's coming in Java EE8, there's aspects of that will help with the microservice development. So here again, I don't see them as competing. I think they complement each other.
Sure. Maybe you see MicroProfile leaving the same umbrella of Java EE, like Web Profile, Full Profile, and maybe sharing technologies, sharing APIs and things like that.
Yes, correct. To a certain extent. I mean, the one thing I don't want to get across is that, in order to develop microservices, you need the whole Java EE platform, because
Sure.
that'll turn people away. If you start bringing in everything related to EJBs and the full JMS stack and all of that, then people are going to say, no, that's way too big for microservice development. But if you just bring in the pieces that you require, and you can build your server environment to support just those pieces, then I think that's a very worthwhile microservice development environment.
Sure, got it. Kevin, it took a long time since the last version of Java EE, Java EE7, maybe was released on 2013, and so it took 4 years. Do you believe that long will work for good or for bad in terms of adoption? Do you believe that the community, the companies, the vendors will have a lot of expectation, or are afraid of the long time it took for the delivery?
Well, I think if you would have asked me this question last summer, I think there would have been a lot more worried people. Because last summer, nobody really knew what direction Java EE8 was going to be taking. It was kind of in a lull mode, and that's actually what kind of caused some of these grassroots efforts. I mean, besides the MicroProfile effort, there was the Java EE Guardians that sprung up. And so it showed that there was a lot of interest in Java EE, and sometime during last summer, there was a lot of discussions and maybe maybe they even felt some pressure. I'm not going to state that, but you know, Oracle kind of woke up, and I think they realized how important Java EE is, and they really got their gears in place to really push forward with Java EE 8. So even though there was a little bit of a lag last year at about this time, I think, you know, kind of making up for it. So the overall definition and completion of the specs and completion of the platform within a year's time frame from Java 1 to Java 1, I think that's pretty impressive. And I think part of that big push to get that done is to make up for that lag that happened. So yes, full-time wise, maybe it is about 4 years, but I don't think it is that big of a deal. I know from our customer perspective, from an IBM customer perspective, I mean, we have customers that are still running on Java EE 6 and Java EE 7. So, you know, yes, we do have some that are leading the pack and they're looking for Java EE 8 and they want it as soon as possible. But I would say the majority of our customers aren't ready to make that jump yet. So even though there's a little bit of a lag, I think that's okay from a customer adoption viewpoint. So I'm not too concerned, especially from our customer base. And I would assume it's pretty similar to the other vendors that we've been talking to.
Yeah, take a little time to go to the next version, right? To migrate the applications and adopt whatever. Talking about the migration, do you think that people that want to migrate from 7 to 8 will have a hard time doing it, or will be smoothly? I don't know if you know something about tooling, if you have something planned for Java EE 8.
Migration. Okay, so if you were going to ask me about Java SE migration, then there might be an issue. But for Java EE, going from 7 to 8, I don't see that as an issue. I mean, the expert groups that have been working on the various aspects of Java EE for many years, we've learned that we can't break that release-to-release compatibility. So even when we're introducing brand new programming models or updates to programming models, as an example, JMS 2.0 and Java EE 7, that was a huge change, greatly simplified the programming model. But we kept the old one around because we need those applications to continue to work functionally. And then as customers either are writing new applications or modifying their existing ones, then they can move to the new programming model. So it's much easier to introduce the updates that way by keeping the current contracts in place and then adding to or modifying those so that customers can gradually move to the new version instead of a total rewrite of applications. So I don't see the migration from Java EE 7 to 8 as being troublesome at all.
Oh, that's great. And do you see any career opportunities for with this release? Will bring some kind of career opportunities for developers, Java EE developers, and so on.
What type of opportunities?
Career opportunities.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I would mention that Java is still the #1 programming language. So if there are students that are studying Java, I think your job prospects are very good. And then if you can understand or at least educate yourself on Java EE technologies, I think that's a bonus. I don't know that it's necessary. Like is Java EE 8? Are there specific career opportunities there? I don't know that there is. I think just in general, I think Java developers and Java EE developers are still in high demand.
Okay, got it. And Kevin, you work for IBM. I want to know if you know any plan, sorry, any plan related to some application service like WebSphere related to Java EE.
Yeah. So it's very difficult for us to talk about product plans. We have pretty strict requirements that we can't pre-announce anything. But I will state this because this is the same thing I told my customers at our IBM Interconnect conference this past spring. WebSphere has been a Java EE application server since it was known as J2EE. So way back when with J2EE 1.3, 1.4, we have been supporting Java EE. So at this point, I see no reason why we would not continue to support the Java EE standards with the WebSphere platform. But I can't give you any specific dates.
Sure, I understand, but that's a great news, right? We all want to see WebSphere keep going with Java EE. And Kevin, last week we heard, for me, a great news that Java EE has migrated to GitHub with Java.net has shutting down. Do you believe that this migration will bring the developers closer to the specification and get involved? And maybe for Java EE 9 and other projects, we have more participation from the community?
I think we will. To be quite honest, I know it took a few months, but that migration from Java.net to both GitHub and Java EE groups.io, that was actually a very smooth migration. And my usage of both environments so far has been very positive. One thing, besides the functional aspects, because I think having GitHub and the groups.io, I think both of them are a big improvement over what we had before. But then also, we're setting up a consistent mechanism for all of the JSRs. And I think that's very important because as I worked on the various JSRs and moving between them and trying to work it from a platform perspective, as we're trying to integrate it into WebSphere, it was very difficult sometimes to work on each of these individual JSRs because everyone had their own little quirks, their own little environments. And by being consistent with expert group mailing lists and then having them all hosted on GitHub, I think that's a big plus. And so, yes, I think it will help draw people. Right now, developers, if you don't know how to use GitHub, you're way behind the curve. So talking before about career opportunities, okay, so besides knowing Java, you got to know GitHub. But if you know that, then starting to participate in any of these JSRs or even just looking at the code or the APIs is going to be second nature to you. It'll be very easy to download it, clone it, take a look at it, maybe even participate on it. So I think it's a plus all the way around.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Kevin, there are some resources that you would recommend for people that want to learn Java EE or came from another technology or maybe start from scratch. I don't know, books, blog, anything that you would recommend?
Yeah, so personally, I'll start with my own personal ones and then I'll mention some of the external ones. At our IBM Interconnect conference this past spring, I presented several different topics. One was on the MicroProfile. Well, first of all, Java EE 8 introduction, and that went into some of the little bit of history of the Java EE 8 creation, and then the contents, and I go into each of the JSRs and talk about each of them. Another presentation that I have is talking about the relationship between MicroProfile and Java EE and the application server. So kind of what we talked about earlier, but it goes into a lot more depth. And a third one that I did was on the MicroProfile Microprofile programming model, and that's complete with code examples that you can download from GitHub and work through that. All of these are available on my SlideShare account on LinkedIn. So, and I don't know later on if we have the ability, I've got a reference chart that we could show that has those links. Or if people would just Google that, if you Google my name, Kevin Sutter SlideShare, you'll find them. So,
sure, send it to me, and I will put on the description of the video.
Okay. Okay. So the other thing that I would reference is David Delabasi. He's the Oracle evangelist for Java EE. He's been traveling to all these various conferences and giving updates on Java EE 8. The latest one, I was just searching it yesterday. The latest one is from March that I can find. There's a YouTube presentation that he did on the current Java EE 8 status. Very good. I would recommend that for getting an update on it. The other thing that I would recommend, I know some people, they either love or hate Twitter, but I do pick up on a lot of information from the various people in the industry, especially related to Java EE, from Twitter. So I mean, I've got my own handle, KW Sutter. David Delabasi just goes by his last name, Delabasi. And then there's also the Java_EE Twitter handle. And so if you wanted to learn more about Java EE, you could subscribe to any of those and you would start picking up information related to Java EE. And specifically for mine, then you would also find some stuff related to MicroProfile as well. I guess the other thing, I know we've talked about Java 1 a lot, and of course that's the premier Java conference, but there's a lot of other smaller Java related conferences throughout the summer. I mean, summer months are pretty busy with these conferences, and summer into fall. So I would kind of recommend taking a look, doing a search in your local area and see what might be available. I know one other one that I was going to mention, there's an event coming up in Sao Paulo related to MicroProfile, and IBM and SouJava are co-hosting this, I guess, and it's to talk about MicroProfile and migrating your enterprise applications to microservices and the cloud. And all the major partners of MicroProfile are participating. IBM, Red Hat, Tommy Tribe, SouJava, I think the London Java community, I'm not positive about that one, but everybody is participating in this. So it should be a very good event. It's a 2-day event in June. And I personally cannot make it due to a personal conflict, but a co-worker of mine, Alistair Nottingham, is coming down to do the keynote from IBM, and he's going to be doing it on the MicroProfile effort. So put a little plug in for that conference as well.
Yeah, and we're gonna have great guys there, like Maurício Leal from Red Hat, Bruno Souza, Fabio Veloso, Otávio Santana from Tommy Tribe. It will be a great event.
Good.
And Kevin, do you have any final thoughts, final words, any tip that you wanna leave for the people that are watching us right now?
I guess the only thing is I appreciate this opportunity. I kind of like this mechanism, being able to just kind of talk with you and give you my thoughts on some of those questions. And just to let everybody know that Java EE and MicroProfile, they're both alive and well and making great strides in the industry. So I appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and again, I would like to thank you for your time, and hope to see you on Java 1. I will try to get there. So thank you very much, and have a good day.
Okay, thank you.
And guys, thank you very much for watching us. If you haven't subscribed on SouJava channel, please do it on the button down below. And see you next time. Bye-bye.